Boom! Team, what's happening? Welcome to the dojo, the gym, for another movement demo. We're talking B stance. Now, a B stance can look like this. Basically a staggered stance. Some people would call it a kickstand. B stance, kind of the official term, comes from the famous Borgenham. Borgenham from Sweden. Just kidding. No idea where the name B stance came from, but I'm sure with a little Googling you could find out. B stance really helps with that imbalance we have, helps us ease into single leg work. So we all have natural imbalances from what we do in everyday life through what we do growing up in sport and play. So hard to do a single leg deadlift, really hard to do a single leg hip thrust. A little easier to do a B stance version because you have the support of that bent leg on the ground to take away the awkwardness, but not necessarily diminish the movement and really work one side of your body. Today, we're going hip thrust with the B stance. So first, you're gonna get yourself on your hip thrust apparatus. Now, this is kind of a cheat man's hip thrust with the bench. Usually you want a little bit more of a curve here and maybe slightly lower. I like to line about my shoulder blades up in that position. For some people, you might need a little something underneath you, or you would need to come up on the bench in order to get set up, all right? So if we just did a traditional hip thrust, what I want you to think about is not that hyper extension of the spine where I'm dropping down here. So if I were to hold this position and come back up to a stand, it would look something like this, which we don't want that super extension at the back. We want to keep that more in line, keep the spine in line. So you would come down here, get set up, and then as I drop down, I would stay connected, not just dropping and arching into that position. So as I'm connected, I'm dropping down, maybe some slight movement here on the bench, and then I'm pressing back up. To turn this into a B stance, what I would do is take one foot and then bring it up on the heel. Now I'm trying to drive with my foot that is flat and get that knee to be about a 90-degree angle, all right? So as I drive up, I'm pressing through this one. I get to that top position, I keep everything in line and together, and then I press back down, drive back up. Slightly easier version than that straight single leg hip thrust where I'm really working that balanced position. B stance takes away a little bit of that instability and provides you stability. Now with that, you might want to go loaded or weighted. You can do this with a kettlebell, slightly easier to get into with the kettlebell. So you would come up into your position, place that kettlebell right in that awkward spot below the belly button, get into your B stance. I like to hold the horns here, and then I let myself come down, press back, focusing on driving through this leg, just using this for balance, not to press into the mat. So again, driving down, staying connected and together, press up, press up. Now, same thing can be accomplished with a barbell. Slightly more awkward to get into. I like to kind of place it there on my hip, make sure I'm nice and even, get myself on the bench. Then I get into my B stance, make sure this foot's good, get my shoulder blades on the pad, and then I'm gonna stay together through my spine, avoiding that extension, and then press back up, focusing on the drive through this leg, and just trying to let this leg use for balance. So again, big press up, down, down. This will light up the glutes. Use the B stance hip thrust in your accessory work, pre or post workout to really develop the glutes. Turn them on, get that single leg work in. It is a great exercise to add to your routine. I would do somewhere that would look like 3 to 4 sets on each leg, somewhere between 8 to 12 reps with a load that you can really manage and get through that full range of motion just to begin. And then if you're starting to look to add size or look to load this a little bit more, you would start to change that reps and that scheme a little bit. But give this one a try. If you have questions, drop a comment below. Please consider subscribing.